Hey, you holding that shield on green corridor? Wanting to kitchen? Is there anyone playing behind there? Wow, yeah, he's peeking crazy fast, man. Wow. Woo, I don't know if you just saw that guy on green corridor playing behind that shield, but that must be the fastest quick peeker I've ever seen. What a player, what a bloke. Hey up troops, it's A Littleton here again with another video, and this time we're going to be looking at how to peek, when to peek, and the different types of peeks. And when it comes to peeking, there are times to be aggressive and there are times to be passive. We don't want to be that guy that's on the comms when as soon as they've died, they're onto the teammates going, don't peek, dude, don't peek, as soon as they've already peeked and died. We don't want to be that guy. But at the same time, we also don't want to be this GIF. We don't want to be that guy either. So there's a sort of a happy medium when it comes to peeking about when to be aggressive, when to be passive. We'll go through that today. So over the course of the video then, we're going to go through various tips and tricks that have helped me improve my Siege game over the years. Hopefully it can help you improve your game as well. That's enough of me just waffling on non-stop. Let's get stuck into it. So the first thing we're going to go through then is how to peek in terms of where you need to be against the object that you're peeking from behind or to the side of. So Mute has very kindly decided to be the guinea pig on this one. Mute's going to be using this angle here on Z or Z, and we're going to walk up to the meeting wall. Now what I'm about to show you is a very, very obvious and very extreme example of what will happen in every single game that you play of Siege. So if we start this replay, Mute is holding an angle here, okay? You can see he's right up close to the object that he's hiding behind, which is this wall of Z or Z, just the back of classroom, and you can see the sledge there with the outline. If we now look at the sledge, we can obviously see Mute because Mute's eyes are facing the wall. He's not peeking out far enough. So Sledge will approach to this angle here, a bit further. Go on, Sledge, hang on. So yeah, we know we can see half of his body because half of Mute's body's sticking out. That's fairly obvious. So as he approaches this angle here, you'll see now that I can see, if we just get, there we go, we ADS on that. I can now see half of Mute's head and more than half of Mute's body. But the way perspective works in Siege, if we now look at Mute's perspective, so we've jumped over to Mute, and you can see that we can't actually see anything of Sledge. We can maybe see a little bit of the hammer that's sticking out, like a pixel or two, but that's it. That's the outline of Sledge there. That's the outline of Mute. That's the difference in perspective when you're holding an angle. Now, the way to stop this from happening is to be as far away from possible as the thing that you're peeking from behind or to the side of. So if Mute moves backwards, which we'll get onto now, as Mute moves backwards, the angle will become less severe for Mute and he'll be able to see more of Sledge. So if we look at Mute's perspective, and from here now we move backwards, which I will do in a second. There we go. So you can see he's moved back a step. He can still only see sort of 20-30% of Sledge's body, and he can't see his head. Let's go back to Sledge's perspective. We can still see Mute over half of his body and still half of the head. So we could headshot Mute there, and Mute couldn't headshot us. Again, it's because he's too close. Mute is too close to the object that he's peeking from behind of. So let's go back to Mute's perspective, and we'll move back a little bit further. So just now is Sledge's head appearing in that angle. So now we go back to Sledge's perspective, and you can pretty much see all of Mute there. So if we just scroll back sort of 10 seconds. Oh, we're going to have the audio because the match replay system doesn't seem to...
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
There we go, that's that done. So again, we've gone back to that same angle. Mute is too close, and there's really no more to it than this. Try and be as far... The summary is this. Try and be as far away from the object that you're peeking behind as you can. Again, I'll just show you. This is Mute's perspective. Can't see anything of Sledge. We'll go on to Sledge's perspective. He can see everything. You can see over half of Mute's body and half of Mute's head. So if we watch Mute's perspective again, when he moves back from the object that he's peeking from behind, the perspective then becomes clearer and you can see more of the thing that he's peeking. So now we can see a bit of Sledge, a bit more of Sledge, and then there we can see obviously all of Sledge. But you can see just from the angles there how much more beneficial that is for Mute to be holding that angle away from there. Now, this, like I say, this is a very extreme example, and I've not included any leaning. If you lean, then the example is the severity is less. If you lean around the corner, it's less than what we've seen here. But this is just an example to show. As soon as you get close to the thing you're peeking behind, then you have trouble. You want to be as far away if you can. Obviously, you don't want to be the other side of the room. But if you were to be peeking this angle here where Mute is, you want to be peeking it from where Mute is now, rather than up close right against the wall. That's the long and short of it. So when it comes to holding angles, you've got two different types of angle to hold. We've got IQ here in green corridor, and this is the area of the map that we're trying to fight over at the moment. There's two different types of angles, aggressive and passive. If you're holding an aggressive angle, you're holding the angle, like actively holding the angle where the enemy is going to appear from. So this angle here. The dangers with holding an aggressive angle is if someone knows the map well and they've got great game sense and they know someone's going to be in that area, they can quick peek it. You can see if someone's going to be there or not, or they can pre-fire it and you're a goner. Actually, don't pre-fire the wall, like trying to pre-fire where the opponent's head's going to be. Oh, maybe I did, because there's a shot there. Anyway, that's my point. That's an aggressive angle. You're actively holding the area the opponent's going to come from. What you can then do instead is hold a passive angle, which is far safer. And if I'm brutally honest, what better players will do is use a passive angle combined with some utility, which I'll show you in just a second. That's why we're playing mozzie. So a passive angle is you're still holding the same area, except you just back off slightly. So this is a passive angle of the aggressive angle we were just holding. So we know that someone's going to be appearing from this side of the map. We can hold like it's got an off angle or a passive angle like this. And what we're then waiting for, ideally, is a sound cue, or we're just going to pre-fire and swing and you know, get the right area. And we're not... From the passive angle, you can't be killed. It's difficult to try and explain what I mean here, but just bear with me. I hope this is making sense. From a passive angle, I can't get shot from this angle until IQ pushes up to like this. But by then, we should have done something about it. So the reason you hold a passive angle is, let's just say we've got a mozzie Banshee, or we've got some barbed wire. You would hold the passive angle, and then as soon as you get that sound cue that someone's in the area, you pre-fire and peek the corner. As soon as you get that information from either barbed wire, a goo mine, a mozzie Banshee, an aloe mine, whatever it might be. So if I just use the other PC quickly, and I walk IQ forward now, and we know now, based on that, she's there. And that's what you get the information from to come from the passive angle to make it more aggressive. Let me just move out of that Banshee. There's nothing worse than holding an aggressive angle and you get pre-fired off the face of the earth and everyone goes, oh my god, he's cheating. It's just people know certain angles to hold. For example, let's just go to bottom white stairs quickly. Depending on what elo you're in, if I'm on bottom white stairs now, the first thing I'll do, before I even quick peek or look at what's at the top of here, I will pre-fire top white stairs every time. Because there's so many people that hold an aggressive angle like this onto bottom white stairs. And if you start learning what these angles that people hold is, you'll just smudge them off the map immediately. So as soon as you get to the bottom white stairs, I always pre-fire that angle because people aggressively hold it. If you've been put a Banshee here instead, and you held white stairs like this, you can't be shot from this angle. As soon as that Banshee goes off, that's when you pre-fire, where you swing and pre-fire, or you know they're going to be in this area. When you place stuff like Banshees and goo mines and things like that down, just make note of where they're going to go off. So you know the areas here. So if it starts going off, you know the bottom of the stairs. You know head height for the bottom of the stairs is going to be around here, or crouch height. And they're dead. And again, if someone's put a goo mine down, make a note of where the goo mine is. There's no point in putting a goo mine here if you're playing a passive angle like this, because they're going to be on the goo mine before they get there. So you want the goo mine down at the bottom. You know the goo mine's at the bottom of the stairs. You hear it go off, and they're dead. They're dead, they're a goner. They're a goner or they're dead. Both work. So that's the difference. Aggressive angles put you in danger. Sometimes can get kills quicker. I prefer passive angles, but there's no point in holding a passive angle unless you've got that utility. The only way you could hold a passive angle and not have utility, and this is always difficult because there's so many sounds going on in a round of siege, is if the IQ walks down and we don't say anything here. That's the only other bit of information you're going to have. You've got to listen for that sound command. If that IQ's crouch walking, listen to how quiet this is now. That's with no other sound in the map. Listen to how quiet that crouch walk is. It's so quiet. And with no other sound in the map, it's almost unhearable. Is that a word? I almost can't hear it. It's unhearable. It's unaudible. Inaudible. I don't know. You know what I mean. You can barely hear it. Whereas, you know, you've got someone fighting in showers, you've got things going on upstairs, you've got fuse charges going off, there ain't no way you're hearing that crouch walk. So you really need to have that utility to hold a passive angle. But they're the two different angles, passive and aggressive. If you thought I found it difficult how to explain the first two tips, then this one is even more difficult. I don't know what you call this, but I'm going to try and explain it. When you're peeking an angle, we've got the IQ here in this doorway again. If you're coming around green, the first angle you want to worry about is here. The second angle you want to worry about is meeting. Now, I don't know how I'm going to word this. As you go around the corner of the angle that you're worried about, you want to be facing that angle. So as soon as you peek, you're facing where you want to be facing. And I'll try and explain what I mean. If you want to be facing green door, right, you know there might be someone green door, don't go around the corner like this. I know this is a really bad example of what I mean, but some people go around the corner like this. I've seen it happen. They go around the corner like this. Stand here. You know where the green door is going to be roughly. It's roughly going to be here, right? So as you peek, you know you're roughly in the right area. Once you know that's clear, the next angle you're worrying about is the door where IQ is, right? You don't want to be going around the corner like this. Do you know, does that make sense? You like sweeping around the corner. The odds of somebody being here, here, or here on that angle is really, really, really slim. I've never seen anyone hold this angle. But that's called an off angle, and that's why they work sometimes. But 99 times out of 10, well, they're going to be there. So once you know this is clear, the next angle you got to worry about is here. So as you go around the corner, if you know the door's there, you want to be going around the corner like this. You want to have that angle ready to just be on that angle straight away as soon as you peek there. I hope that makes sense, because I've seen people go around corners like this and it doesn't work, and it's not the best way of peeking. You know the door's here, you want to be on this angle, and you want to peek like this. Again, I'll try and go to somewhere else in the map just quickly to show you what I mean. We got to rotate here. So white stairs is a good example. We used white stairs in the earlier example. We'll use white stairs again now. We know that someone's going to be holding an aggressive angle a lot of the time. I'm not going to say 99 times that I get well at the top of the stairs. So if we know someone's going to be holding that angle, we don't want to be peeking the stairs like this. And we don't want to be progressively peeking like this. We want to be from here. You know that's the top of the stairs. Peek it like that. That was a bad pre-fire, but peek it like this. So you're already on the angle that you're worried about as soon as you get around that corner. So you'd be coming around the stairs like this. And before you peek the top of the stairs, you'd turn around. That's what I do anyway. Some people might like going like this. I don't think that's the most efficient way of doing it. Get on the angle before you peek the angle. So that's the angle, and then peek the angle. I hope that makes sense. I don't even know what you call that. Prepare the angle before you turn the corner. Same again here. We wouldn't want to be going around. We know the IQ's in the door. We don't want to be going around like this. We know the door's here. So before we get to the edge of the wall here, we're already facing where we want to be peeking. And as you then... I hope that makes sense. So this next tip probably improved my Siege game more than most things when I was learning how to play this game. And it came from an American dude that I used to play with, and he still does play Siege, a chap named Red GG. I think I mentioned him in a few other videos in the past. If you know Red, he's an absolutely quality guy. And what he told me is, he was actually on Oregon when I did this, and I remember him telling me, and he was honest with me and told me that you can get better if you do this. And I really appreciated the honesty. And what he calls it, and I don't know if this is the right phrase, but he calls it pieing the room. And what he means by pieing the room is, we've got the IQ here, okay? So if we know IQ's in here, or we think IQ's in here, when it comes to peeking meeting, and this is a great example, because there's so many different angles an enemy could be at in meeting. Could be behind the desk here, could be on the stage here. There's a million different, well, not a million, but there's several different angles an enemy could be across this room. So when it comes to peeking this room, what you don't want to do is just walk in and then try and guess where they, you know, and you don't want to just walk in and be like, right, where are they? Because that is never going to work from all the different angles. So what Red means, and when he explained to me about pieing the room, is check each angle whilst remaining in cover from the other angles. So we can check all the way around this room to here, or to here even, whilst being in cover from the other angles. So if we stay here, we can check the first angle, which is behind the stage here, right? If he's not there, we can then check behind the second bench, which is not there. The whole time, we're still in cover from IQ where she is there, okay? So we check here, not there, no, not there. And as you go around the room, you're still remaining, you know, you're not here checking here, because you're going to get shot from this angle, if you're with me. Again, I don't think I'm very good at explaining this. I hope this is making sense. So you like segmenting. I've just made another word up. You're cutting the room into segments, hence the pie, like cutting it up in like you would cut a pie up. So then you check this angle, then you check behind the bookcase. We're not there, and every time you just sort of... And eventually you'll get around to where the enemy is. I used to just walk out into a room like this and then be like, right, where are you? And at this point, I'm getting shot from 15 different angles. So just peek each angle whilst remaining in cover from the other angles. And as you get around the room, eventually, you know, if the IQ, if I just jump on this PC, if the IQ was here, you know, when we pie the room and we go around it, I don't know if that's the right phrase. I think Red might have been taking the mick out on me when he called it pieing the room, because I've called it that ever since. But as we're going round here, you know, you can either quick peek it or you can just do it gently, like you can peek in and out. however you want to do it, or if you're good mechanically, I'm not, you can do a bit of this. And then as you get around, the last place you want to check is here. But the whole time, we're in cover from this IQ here. We're not walking out here going, where are you? Right, where are you? You know, I hope that makes sense. So the last thing we're going to look at then is what's called knife peeking or melee peeking or whatever you want to call it. There's a few different names for it. It's seen as a little bit fancy and a little bit sort of showy-offy, if that's a word I might have just made up, and a little bit sort of like flary. I disagree. I think it's really practical. The premise of knife peeking is if you think there's an enemy holding an angle here and they're holding head height, for example, you'd assume they're holding head height. What you don't want to do is quick peek it, because it could mean the end of your round and the end of your life. You don't want to put your face in danger. So what you can do is walk up towards the door frame. Don't expose your body past the door frame. Walk up to the door frame and melee. And as you melee on that door frame, your knife and hand extends beyond the frame. And anyone that's holding that then will try and shoot your arm. It's pretty much impossible to hit because of ping and playing on over the internet rather than on LAN and stuff. So it's almost impossible to hit. Even if they do hit you, they're going to hit you like your arm and your wrist. It's going to do like 25-30 damage at worst. It's a lot better than having your face taken off. So you just walk up to the door frame, extend the melee over the door so they can see something, and if they're holding it, they're absolutely going to fire at it. So I'm going to use the other PC now. We'll hold this angle. I'm not going to be able to ADS. We're just going to have to hope we can see it without ADSing. I'm going to move the crosshair away from where that is there so it doesn't block the angle. So obviously this is where Sledge is going to appear in a second. We'll just put the crosshair there for now so it's a bit clearer to see. So Sledge here, you can see him by the way. Hello Sledge. So using the other PC now, this is hard because I'm looking at this monitor but looking at the other PC. So we're going to try and knife peek here and just see how little of Sledge's arm you're going to see. I mean, look at you. There's no way you're hitting that shot. Do you know what I mean? However, that was a bit too much. However, you will definitely still try and take the shot. As soon as you see that there, you'll try and take the shot. And it gives you the information that there is an enemy. There is indeed an enemy holding that angle. Now, like I say, it's a little. People see it as a little bit flashy and a little bit showy. Because what people will do, will try and they'll like knife peek and then go, right, okay, there is someone there. And try and quick pick it off that. But it's great for finding out info for if there is an enemy holding the angle. And you can then also use the tracers to have an idea of where they are. If the tracers are coming from down here, or if the tracers are coming off an angle, you've got an idea of which doorway they're in. This one's pretty difficult because the angle's not particularly different. But let's just say we do it. Let's just say we did it in meeting here. And if it, if the tracers came from this side, obviously we know they're on that side of the room, and vice versa on this side. But yeah, just walk up to the door frame, extend the knife, and if the shots come in, you know there's someone in there. I think it's really practical, but I know other people think it's a bit fancy. So there we have it. There's some tips and tricks that I use when I'm playing the game in terms of peeking, how to peek and when to peek. Hopefully it's helped you out, because doing those things that I've just included in that video have definitely helped me improve it in the game over the years. For those of you that don't know, I also stream on Twitch 4 days a week. I say this all the time, but I'm getting it in on every video. If you haven't been to the Twitch channel yet, stop by. It's every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 PM UK time. I do nothing but play ranked. And it's a good laugh. Turn up. It'd be nice. Say hello. Please. Thanks. But that's enough for me again on this one. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much. Cheers.